Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made my Velvette cosplay from Hazbin Hotel. This is a super easy cosplay and perfect for if you're trying to rustle something up very quickly for a con, because it takes such minimal time. It's super easy. I think that the Vees are such a well-designed group of villains and I was really excited to become Velvette from them. Without further ado, let's start. So for the crop top, I started off with this black plain one from Zara that I got from one of their sales many moons ago, and then I'm just using a scrap of paper to make two templates of a heart. The easiest way to do this is if you fold your paper in half, draw half a heart and then cut it out, you will get a perfectly even heart. You're going to need two of these, so make sure you make another one exactly the same. Once these are done, I pinned them to the crop top, looked in the mirror and then repositioned as necessary. It's really important to pin them on and try it on with them on, because if you're someone with a larger chest especially, it looks so different flat on the floor than it does to when you're wearing it. Once you're done, draw around the heart, and then I'm using this Tulip Soft Matte True Red fabric paint and I am just filling in the hearts. It took about 2 to 3 layers for me to get the opacity that I wanted. Just keep building up very thin layers until you're happy with it. That's all there is to it for the crop top. Now for the jacket, I am taking this white blazer. This is one that I had cut the arms off previously because I used it to make my angel dust cosplay. And once I was done with that, because I cut off the arms of this blazer and sewed it onto a different blazer to make his extra arms, I was left with all of this fabric from the torso and I didn't throw it out because I knew it would come in handy for something. I just cut off the lapel and then I painted the entire thing with black fabric paint. Unfortunately, I forgot to record that part, so you won't be seeing me paint it. Then I got a long trench coat length black cardigan, and I am just cutting off the armholes right at the seams. The edges ended up curling around and it looked okay, so I didn't bother sewing them over, I just kind of left them as they were. Then, unfortunately, my camera died, but I sewed the lapel all the way around the neckline of the cardigan, and then I made 2 more templates of hearts, and on one side only of the lapel, you're going to draw these on. There's actually 3, the middle one is slightly bigger, and once you've drawn them on, you paint them on with the exact same shade of paint that you used for the top. So you can see that there's 3 hearts and then the middle one is just a tiny bit bigger, and that's all there was to it. So unfortunately my camera wasn't recording for a lot of the trousers, but basically I taped some stripes onto these pre-existing trousers and then I painted them with purple fabric paint. Unfortunately, the paint that I used was meant for dyeing entire garments and not painting stripes, which is why it looks so messy, but I think the rusticness of this kind of added to Velvette's look and I think it was perfect, so I just left it how it was. But if I was to do this again, I would definitely use a different brand. And that's all there is to it to the trousers. You can see there are some mistakes, but I'm actually really happy with it. Now for the arm warmers, I am using this same exact shade of the red paint, and I got a pair of black and white arm warmers and I am just painting the white stripes with the red paint. If you want this to be very neat, you can tape this up and do it that way, but honestly I didn't think it really mattered, so here I am just putting it on. And remember, you only want to paint one of the arm warmers, the other one you just leave black and white. and you should be left with something like this. I then took a scrap of EVA foam and I cut out the shape of a heart. I painted it with white acrylic paint, and then I'm using some Liquitex gloss varnish just to make the whole thing shiny. I deliberately made it very cartoonishly big to fit her aesthetic. Using some Yoo-hoo glue, I glued on the heart to the top part of the belt. Now when you glue this on, make sure that the heart is kind of lifted up and you glue this towards the pointy part. Don't glue this in the dead center, because as you wear it, it will bend about and it will be really annoying. I made this mistake at first, so make sure you just shift it up slightly and it should be fine. And here we have the finished belt. Then for Velvette's earrings, I am using some foam clay and I am just rolling them into spheres and then elongating one side of the sphere to make this kind of teardroppy shape. I used the knife to add some details. Once it was how I was happy with it, I threaded some wire through and let it dry. Then, using more white acrylic paint, I painted the entire things with this. Then, using a black biro pen, I am just drawing on the details. Don't worry about getting these perfect, they're meant to look quite cartoony. Once these were done, I used some small jewelry making pliers just to curl the wire at one end. Then at the top, I curled a little loop, and this is what I attached the jump rings to and the silver earring hook. If your ears aren't pierced, you can just use clip-on earring hooks for this part. And then you have her earrings. For the wig, I used a burgundy bob and then I tied 2 ponytails in it. Then taking these big clip-on extensions, I crimped 2 of them and they were left with something like this. Then I took some blue hair extensions and I crimped those as well. Once they are crimped, make sure you brush them out and it helps them look a little bit more full. I think all in all, I added about 9 of the blue extensions to each of the ponytails, and that's how I got it to look how it did. So not shown here, but for the white parts in the wig, I actually used some PVA glue on white hair extensions, and then once it was in the length that I wanted, I glued it into a spiral and let it dry hard. So the white parts are actually really hard and stuck on top of the wig. This was very fiddly to do, but it worked out in the end. And that's literally all there is to it. I had such a fun time making this velvet costume. It's definitely one of the most fun projects I've worked on. There was so much to do. It's perfect if you like crafty things like I do. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up. Let me know who is your favourite member of the Vees. Is it Vox, Velvette or Valentino? Remember to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content like this, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.